As you all well may know, Avatar: The Last Airbender has gotten a live action that released few days ago. And as someone who has seen Avatar a billion times, I was excited and hoped it would be better than the other live action, and that will get a worthy adaptation.
Sure.
Okay, hold on. I don't actually think it was that bad, but I also do think it was that bad. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but if it wasn't for the visual effects, this show would have been just as bad as the movie, maybe a slightly better.
My name is Ong, and I'm the Avatar.
Never mind, nothing will be this bad. But before I'm gonna talk about what I didn't like, I have to give first credit where credit is due. So without further ado, let's get started. I liked the opening at the Southern Air Temple, and that we got to see the fight between Sozin's army and Gyatso and the monks. I liked that Sokka wasn't a serious brooding teenager, and that they attempted to make him funny.
Oh, is that a frog or a froggy thing?
I said attempted. I liked the world building, also the visuals of all the cities and towns. We're absolutely stunning. Whoever was on the VFX team needs a massive raise. Obviously, I liked the fight scenes. It is without a doubt the best thing in this show, and the thing I liked most of all, what was very unexpected to me, was that we got to see a little of another side of Ozai. Don't get me wrong, this guy is still nuts in his head, but no, you can see that he genuinely thinks that this is justified in his head. And when he burns Zuko, you can see that he is still trying to convince himself that this is for the best. If the season gets a season 2, I hope we'll see more of that. But fight scenes and visuals can get you only so far. So let's now talk about the bad, and I have two main issues with this. Of course, there are more and bigger issues, but I am really not that difficult to win over. I'm gonna be honest here. There are a lot of movies and TV shows that I really like that most people absolutely hate. For example, Dracula Untold, the first Percy Jackson movie, the Transformers franchise. Yes, all 6 of them. So keep in mind, this video is just my opinion. It's not a professional deep dive, so if you don't agree with something, let me know your take on the matter in the comments. So for me, the two things that really made it difficult to watch through it are the acting and the writing. Now, this is not gonna be a video where I am gonna shit on the actors. In the end, most of the cast are kids after all. And not every kid cast is like the Stranger Things cast. Not just that Avatar is huge franchise, and with the previous movie the stakes are that much higher. But I wanna be as nice as possible here, but I thought the acting was very stiff. I literally could feel how uncomfortable these people were playing these roles. And funniest thing about is that they are probably not even bad actors, they just nervous. Like in real life in interviews and stuff, these guys felt more like Team Avatar than in the live action. It's also one reason why I hope we do get a season 2, but if they cancel it, I won't be surprised. After all, there was a lot of money involved making this series, and it's probably the reason why I was disappointed. I'm not saying it was the worst acting I have ever seen, but I just feel like if you have a franchise like Avatar with this massive budget, you have to come with something a little better than this.
He's an airbender.
Now there were also some actors I did like. I liked the actor of Commander Zhao, Ken Leung. I thought he played the role pretty well.
Yes, I've heard Kyoshi Island has had an admirable history of staying, shall we say, insignificant.
I think Iroh's actor is also pretty decent, but the one I liked the most was by far Fire Lord Ozai's actor Daniel Dae Kim. I think he is the most experienced actor in the cast, I'm not sure, but it made sense that he would dominate the show. I think he really played the character well. And when he came in a scene, I was most locked in.
Sins would have welcomed being freed from your tyranny.
Tyranny? Don't you mean unity? Prosperity? Are we not the greatest nation in the world?
Even more locked in than in the final fight. I do have to say I didn't like the final episode, but this scene was just absolutely epic.
Uncle, what is that? That is wrath.
I wasn't sure they were gonna do it, but it was awesome. And if we ever get to season 3, I hope they will show the same visuals for the Zuko versus Azula fight and Aang versus Ozai. So yeah, I didn't like the acting. I have no ill will against the actors of any kind. And if we get a season 2, I have no problem if we keep the same actors, but they gotta put their game in. So the writing is without a doubt the worst thing in this show for me personally. Like, I don't mind changing the story, in fact I prefer it. I don't want to watch a scrap by scrap remake of the cartoon, but if you're gonna take things out of the show, at least replace it with something equally satisfying in return. Like, they changed so much and the most important scenes were very rushed, but they do have time to almost kill of Momo. Also, what is this wig? It looks so awful. So many people in this show look like they are cosplaying, but I can let it slide. But this, what the hell is this? I also didn't like how some of the characters were written. In the cartoon, Aang is my favorite, but I'm gonna say another hot take. I mean, this whole video is probably a hot take, but I don't like Aang here. In fact, he kinda annoyed me. Like, he was crying almost every episode. In fact, I think it is every episode. And I know Aang has always been a sensitive kid, but the Aang in the cartoon had so much life in him. I always really respected Aang because he was such a wise, goofy, sensitive kid. But this version, it's just the sensitive. I also don't feel much of a bond between Katara and Aang. And it's probably because they are going to bring Zuko and Katara together in this version, instead of Aang, something I personally don't like. But I also know a lot of people would like this, so I guess this I can understand. And I am not a shipper, I don't really care about ships, as long as you don't throw it in my face. But I'll be Cat Aang always and forever. I didn't like Sokka that much either. He is definitely way better than this version.
Okay? Everybody can help us now!
But Sokka in cartoon had a little journey of believing women can't fight. And eventually, as he meets many great female warriors, he slowly starts to change. Simple but enough. But in this version, I didn't feel much of a character development. I'm pretty sure he stayed the same the whole season. Same for Aang, like we didn't even have seen Aang training water. Not once. Only in a small scene where he explains the water whip, but you don't see him do it. You just see Katara trying. And about Katara, be prepared for another hot take, but I don't like her. It's not that I hate her, she was just so boring to me for some reason. I'm gonna be very honest, I don't really remember much of her at all, even though I'm pretty sure she was one of the few with a small storyline, but I still find her so boring for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a hater, maybe I'm too attached of the cartoon version, and when I see someone else trying to take its place, I just go like,
how dare you stand where he stood?
But even after all that, I kinda still want a second season. I don't want to be too harsh on young kids who are just starting their careers, and hope maybe we get to see some improvement in the second season, because unlike the movie, this show has actually some potential to become better. I guess we have to wait and find out. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and maybe even subscribe. It would help this small channel more than you know. Love and peace, Anime Buff.